Hello and welcome to the Online Trainers Podcast, where we go behind the scenes to uncover the latest tactics and strategies top trainers around the world are using to get more clients, dominate their marketplace, and get their clients amazing results. There is absolutely no fluff here. I'm your host, Lynn Trin. Hello and welcome back to this episode. I hope you've been implementing everything from the previous episodes. If you haven't done so, really my biggest advice is to go out and implement that into your business, because those are the strategies that are working now. If you've been enjoying these podcasts so far, please, I would really appreciate a review. Leave me a 5-star review by going into the iTunes. That would help spread the message. But today, I really want to talk to you about how you can start leveraging your time better and start thinking as more a business owner as opposed to a sole trader or a business operator. Okay, now most personal trainers understand trading time for money is the worst investment that we can make. And whilst I believe that every single person on this planet is trading time for money, it's just most personal trainers are trading a lot of time for a little bit of money. Okay, so they're spending a lot of time with their clients, but they aren't making a lot of money. And I can relate, because it was in 2012 when I was working inside a Fitness First gym that I was trading an hour of my time for $70. And I'll be doing that for the next, 5 years till 2013, 14, right? And it wasn't really, the aha moment for me was really moving over to an Anytime Fitness gym, starting completely fresh. And I started to think about ways where I can leverage my time a little bit better, because when I was training at Fitness First, I'd been a trainer for about 5 years at the time. And I thought, okay, well, I can't be doing this forever. I want to work less and I want to make more money. But back then I hired a new business coach who taught me about niching down, and we talked about my particular niche. And I love to work with men, only because, corporate guys were fun and I could get along with them and we can talk about life and we related. They were literally me or myself 2 years ago in regards to their goals. They just wanted to lose the belly fat. They wanted to get lean. They wanted to get strong and be impressive. So at Anytime Fitness, I started to leverage this concept and started to make more money per hour of my time when I started these 12-week, 16-week transformation programs. And how they'd work is essentially, this was really it. Instead of training one person one-on-one, I'd meet up with a whole group of clients once on a Saturday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And I would run almost what I call a coaching seminar. Oh, not so much a seminar, it was just a group training session where I would spend 30 minutes sitting down with them, talking about, their last week, really understanding on how they've been going with their diet, their training and their nutrition. And then I'd spend the next 30 minutes going through some sort of topic. And for me, it was, week one, we'd have a look at deadlifts, making sure that everyone's got their deadlifts going. And then in our week one program, we would have deadlifts as part of their training program. And then week two would be squats. And then, obviously in week two, we'd add in squats and then deadlifts. So things were starting to compound, right? So in the first 4 weeks of our transformation, I'd get them set up with the fundamentals, the key fundamentals, for me in my niche, which was deadlift, squats and bench press. So making sure that they were all right on that. And then as the weeks gone by, we'd add in things like nutrition and GVT, German volume training, and just a little bit more advanced stuff. And we got some really, really phenomenal results. Now, sorry if I've lost you. My head tends to race a little bit far, but instead of training one client per hour, what I was able to do was I built out this 16-week or 12-week at the time. It was 12 weeks. It was a 12-week transformation program. I think I called it Strong and Shredded. And essentially I sold, for participating in that program, it ran once a month, and to participate inside that program, it was $67 a week. And I would run ads. I'd get guys to come into the gym. I'd sit down with them and they would start the program, and they thought it was a fantastic idea. Now for $67 a week, they'd get access to what I call a membership site where I would upload the PDFs, add in the training videos. We'd have a Facebook group. So all the guys in each of the groups would, come and chat to each other, and then they'd meet up on the weekend and, they'd enjoy themselves and see each other transform. And every single week I'd add in a bit of a competition. But what this allowed me to do was it allowed me to leverage my time. So if I could have $67 a week and 12 guys in every transformation group that I started, it essentially took my hourly rate from $70 to over, $800 an hour. Now, this is what I call the hybrid model, because the hybrid model was me using myself and my physical contact once a week at Saturday from 9 to 10, But using the online method, such as a membership site, it doesn't even have to be a membership site. If I went back, I could have really done it with a Google Doc. I could have done it with a PDF, and then I could have done it with a Facebook group, adding in videos every single day. But, what we'd do is we'd add the online component and we'd mix it in with the offline component. So they'd meet up, they would get their skin folds done every month, they would get their weigh-ins and check-ins, and they get their photos done as well. But why this model works so well, specifically if you're trying to help clients transform, is that they've got that camaraderie with other people. They get to see other people transform. They get to see other people transform. And so that helps and motivates and guides them to stick to their diet and rock up to these sessions, right? Because, we know as coaches that motivation dies. And so what happens when you come again every Saturday with me is that I'm going to pump you up. And so that happened in 2013, and that happened really successfully because I think we had over 80 guys come in for my 12-week transformation. I think we're running Saturdays back to back from 9 all the way to 3 p.m. And it really, really took off. But that's a really great example because in 2013, I didn't have to do so much one-to-one work during the week because I knew my Saturday was full, and I knew that a lot of my times was then managing the Facebook groups, managing the membership sites. But here's the biggest kicker, right? It allowed me to hire a coach. And when I had to go away to Hawaii during, I think it was September in 2013, I went away to Hawaii and I allowed a coach to step in to take this, and I gave him the syllabus and he was able to teach it. But in all essence, I had essentially revenue coming in, $67 a week, and multiply that by, and it ended up being 80 guys. I had that revenue coming in a week, but now I could pay a coach $50 a session to take over each hour block for me. Okay. And this is when the switch started happening, and I turned from a sole operator to becoming more a business owner and a business operator, because now all I needed to do was generate more leads. I had the system in place, which was my online system. I could have a coach in place, but now I just have to generate more leads and make more sales. So this was my aha moment. And, I didn't just wake up one day and I went from completely working at Fitness First to completely online. It was this pivotal moment that thought, hold on a second, if I can leverage my time a little bit better, if I can make more money and get my clients better results, how can I make a business out of this that then I can kind of step back and get the right people into place? Because as good of a coach, as good as a strength and nutritional coach that I was, and almost a body recomposition coach I was, it wasn't completely my 110% passion. I love Tony Robbins. I love personal development. I love changing habits. I'm more a business and personal development growth specialist, right? But I do enjoy the health aspect. It wasn't my zone of genius. And for me to understand that, I needed to pull myself out of the business. And so this was the first pivotal step. Now, inside your business at this very moment in time, you need to have a look and kind of say, right, if you're doing one-to-one, what niche can you find and what kind of flagship program can you build out so that you're getting your clients results? That is the first thing, okay? With this 12-week transformation program, I was still able to get my clients actually better results because they were all sticking to the program. I had this, and I'm still using this thing called the Alpha Diet, which is a 2-meal intermittent fasting protocol, which works fantastically well for the average Joe. He sees fantastic results. So I implemented that. But you have to think about your business, and you have to think about your flagship program, which then allows you to, you'll start out running it yourself, but as you grow it, then allows you to leverage more money per hour. And if we think about this, I went from $70 an hour to $800 an hour doing 1-hour blocks every Saturday morning from 9 to 10. And then I did 10 to 11, 11 to 12, and then I had a break. And then I remember doing 1 to 2 again, right? But it also allowed me to get my clients better results, but it also allowed me more freedom to then have the revenue to hire the right people, okay? Because here's the thing, without the revenue, without the cash flow, you don't have a business. Once you have more revenue, it's not going out there and going, right, I'm going to buy myself something nice, I'm going to go spend it. If you're smart, you'll think about ways on how you can make your product and service better and bring in the right people to add more value to your customers. So that's what I want you to think about today. And I know that as soon as I started to think this way, the business aspect started to come in, and I started to think, wow, if this is this easy. And, there's always a fear that I have to do everything right if my clients are going to get results. But doing it this way, my clients getting better results because I know that group setting and that motivation that they see being surrounded by people actually motivates them more rather than having to answer to me. Because let's be honest, most of our clients at the time, they'll cheat, they'll binge, they'll lose motivation, and there's no one there to keep them accountable. And as personal trainers, we're not life coaches. We're not supposed to be working on their habits, but just by having that group setting, it allows them to be motivated, keeps them more accountable, and they actually get inspired by other people's transformations that they naturally then start to take the transformation themselves. And so once I discovered this completely changed the game for me, because then I switched off from being the guy that thought I have to do everything myself to going, hold on a second, if they're getting better results and I'm working less, that's awesome. Like, that was the big pivotal moment. And I want you to think about your business at this mirror moment in time, especially if you want to start scaling up, especially if you want to start growing your business, but you also want to, you want more free time. You don't want to be working. You can make $5,000 a week, but if you're working 60, 70 hours a week inside, number one, those training sessions aren't going to be good. You're going to be completely burnt out. And no matter how much money you make, you're not going to be fulfilled. So if that's your business model at the moment, and you're a personal trainer working in the gym, you're doing one-to-one clients, start thinking about building out your flagship program that helps one specific niche get from point A to point B, okay? Or get from where they are to where they want to go. And your flagship program really is, what does your niche client, what does your client need to get the result? What is everything? If you could give them everything they needed to get the results, what would it be? And then lay that out in a 12-week, in a 16-week plan. Now, if you want to do something a little bit more rapid, do an 8-week or a 6-week program. If you want to do something more comprehensive, you do a 12-week or a 16-week program. Now, I've tried both. I generally enjoy the 8 weeks programs a lot better, only because people will start to lose motivation. And this is what happens when you're in the trenches. You start to see these things, right? When you run a 16-week transformation, I guarantee you by about week 8, most of the people are burnt out. And so what I would recommend is that you have a week just to decompress, reset your goals, tell everybody how far they've come, and then tell them that they're halfway, re-energize them, and then motivate them again. Because I've done 16-week programs, and by far none, the best result I've ever had was the 8 to 10 week mark. Okay, so getting a flagship program is actually going to help you. It's going to help you scale. It's going to help you take on more clients. But you have to understand, you have to think about every possibility, no matter, even if you can't deliver it. If they need a nutritionist, if they need a habits coach, you then need to go, right, you need to be resourceful. Who can you then bring in to teach these habits and skills that they need to get results that you don't currently have? Okay, you don't have to be the one that teaches everything. And that's the biggest key point I want to give to you, because that was the key takeaway for me in my business growth, especially in 2013, for me to go on and go, right, I actually don't have to be here, and these guys are enjoying it. And I can check in the Facebook group anywhere in the world in Hawaii, right? And I can check in and see how these guys are doing. So for me, that was the biggest shift. And I want to try to get you thinking. I want to plant this seed in your mind that if you're listening to this podcast, you want more. You want more out of your life. You want more fun, more freedom, more fulfillment. You don't want to be working. Money isn't really a big issue. It initially is the issue, but when you make $2,000 a week and you're comfortable, you kind of want to find more free time. Right? So generally it goes like this: as a business owner, everybody's looking for money. Everyone thinks that they need money. Now, let's assume that money is met. Let's assume that you're making enough money, but you're working 60 hours a week. Now you want to find more time. The next step is time. Once you've found more time, the next step is really, and I believe this is the transition that I'm starting to make, is that fulfillment. How can you go out there and help people genuinely? Because that makes you feel good. And if you can go fulfillment and contribution, that's when you're really looking at that next level and that next stage. But for most personal trainers, they feel as though they need more money. Sure. But here's the thing. I don't want you to get more clients and then be burnt out, because that's probably not a smart business model. So that's my key takeaway for today, especially if you want to take on the advice or not. You can go and post in the Online Trainers Club what your flagship program is, what you're thinking about building out. That way we can toy around with the ideas. That way I can give you some advice, only because I've been through the trenches. I kind of know what works. But here's the thing. It's starting to take away your skill set and starting to think more holistically, to be thinking, if I'm going to get my clients from point A to point B, what could I give them? What's all the possibilities? Do they need a nutritionist? Do they need someone to work on their habits? Do they need someone to work on their mindset? And all you need to do is go and find those people and then put it inside it and package it in a 12-week program or a 16-week program, however long the program needs to be to get your clients from point A to point B. It doesn't even have to be 12 or 16 weeks, but that's just used for an example. And if you can do that, if you can start thinking on that scale, you will totally win. So I hope you take away that. I hope I planted the seed, because if you learn this and if you discover how to do this, and if you discover that the money's in the transformation, not in you trading one-to-one time, you will win. All right. But yes, please, if you loved this episode, please leave a review on iTunes. That would help me out. And, feel free to join the Online Trainers Club, post out your flagship program there, and we'll chime in, and we're in this together. So I hope to see you in there. Have a fantastic day.